One of many dangerous wildfires in the West swept into a Southern California neighborhood during a scorching heat wave.
The homes were consumed when the fire broke out Sunday afternoon in a hilly area of Riverside, a city approximately 60 miles east of Los Angeles.
The Israeli military ordered the evacuation of a crowded area in the Gaza Strip, designated as a humanitarian zone, stating plans for an operation against Hamas militants there.
The order prompted a new exodus of Palestinians, many of whom had recently taken refuge there.
Rescue teams found a man reported missing more than 2 weeks ago in the Red River Gorge, a wilderness area with steep cliffs and jagged terrain in eastern Kentucky.
The rescue team described it as truly a miracle that the hiker survived so long without food or water.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guests and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can I get a cup of coffee in here, please? Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, am I really that funny? I'm not. Oh. So, now I'm unprepared. I'm doing my homework class again. All right, we'll get to it later. We'll do it later. Not later. Live. Something. We'll do something. Good morning, people of this planet, this rock that is floating out in space. It is... What is it? Wednesday? Is it Wednesday already? July 24th, 2024. So it's 24, or 2024. 24, 2024. Or some 7/24, 2024. Do you care? The only reason I give that date is so I don't get confused when I'm looking through the old files and saying, when was this dopey show? As I stated yesterday, we keep on trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Well, today, I think we might have a decent show today. I really do. And I don't say that often. Usually, I'm very insulting to the guests even before they get here by saying, I think we're going to have a shitty show today. But today, we might have a decent show. We're going to start with our first guest, who will probably be a no-show. Is a musician an independent musician from Catalonia, Spain. Catalonia. Yeah, I just want to make sure that's right. Catalonia sounds like a band song or something. Anyway, she will be Sonia Linares. Probably have that last name wrong pronunciation. And then in the second hour, we have an author of nonfiction who has written a book about a presidential assassination attempt, which is a timely discussion to have. But she's a nonfiction author writing about things that I am interested in, and I think you will be interested in too. Her name is Jerry Spieler. Again, name's wrong. Why can't we just have Jane Smith, Jane Jones? They're both named Jane. Because Jane is an easy name. Mary Mary Smith and Jane Jones, or Jane Smith and Mary Jones. Just make it easy. Is all I'm saying. The racism and misogyny and just is off the charts with this Kamala Harris situation. They're not even hiding it now. Trump came out and said, we can't have a woman president. We can't have a socialist country, especially with a woman president. Not a woman president. No ever. You know, the Fox News all got the talking points to call it a DEI hire. You know what? Every time you hear them say DEI, just throw in the N word instead. You'll get the point. It's dog whistling to the audience. Now, it's just insane because they talk about her qualifications. She's probably one of the more qualified people who've actually had a real job and done it well ever. And they don't like that. But here's the thing: they filed like a half a dozen articles of impeachment yesterday against her. Oh, I thought you wanted to run against her. They sure are acting scared, and with good reason. Democratic Party seems to be fired up. I think and listen, it's not the corporations that are donating big cash to her. It's citizens that are donating cash to her in piles and truckloads, boatloads of cash. I think it's over $100 million in just 2 days. And so, the other part of this is Nikki Haley, Republican Nikki Haley. Most of her supporters are jumping on the Harris train, not the Trump train. And Nikki's upset about that because, you know what? She sold her soul to move Donald Trump's butt cheeks apart to tongue his ass after she said how corrupt he was and he was unfit for office. And now that's all going to be for nothing? Wait, that can't be. I mean, there's no benefit to her to having Harris be the next president. So Nikki Haley is panicking. It's a pleasure to see. But again, being the pessimist I am, I think we're doomed no matter what. But it is delightful to see the panic, the fear, and they're just bending over backwards to try to convince themselves that they don't have to fear Harris, even though they're doing everything they can to act scared to impeach her so she can't run. Johnson claims he's going to file legal cases against her eligibility for running. They're already pulling out the birtherism stuff. Wild fear, and it's a pleasure to watch. Just the fear and panic within the Republican Party right now. I do hope someday the Kool-Aid will wear off and they will bounce the orange man, try to get back to some sensibility within the Republican Party. I mean, I've said many times, the only thing worse than a two-party system is a one-party system. Right now, we have a one-party system. We have one party and one just ridiculous sham of a party. I think today is it's the anniversary of Sonia Massey's murder. If you don't know that case, Sonia Massey called the police to come to her own apartment. Black lady. I don't remember exactly why she called the police, but I don't know if she was expecting or thinking there might be an intruder, a burglar, or something like that. But they sent about 20 or so white sheriffs to this woman's house. She was alone in her own apartment on the couch, and the cop was treating her like a suspect in her own home and ended up shooting her in the face, an unarmed woman, point blank, 10 feet away, directly in the face, and murdered her. So that is kind of worth remembering today. There is no way, and people, they try to justify this in any possible. She was getting a pot of water from the state. Now, a pot of water from the stove. It was not a weapon. Again, she was good 10, 12 feet away from the guy. And she wasn't planning on using it as a weapon. There was boiling water on the stove. She went to take it off the stove. Cop said, drop the pot. She got down on her knees and said, "I'm sorry," and said some biblical stuff. And then they shot her in the face. That stuff, that cop, his camera, or actually the backup cop's camera, captured the whole thing. That guy does not deserve life imprisonment. Now, I'm not we do have some people on the panel who are pro death penalty. If there ever was a case for a death penalty, that would be the case. Anyway, that's what we have for you today. I look forward to talking to Jerry Speiler about Sarah Jane Moore, who tried to kill President Ford. And the Secret Service really didn't do their job that day either. But it's interesting that she calls the book, it's a Housewife Assassin, the story of the woman who tried to kill President Ford. There were more than one. I believe Lynette Squeaky from one of the Manson family also tried to kill President Ford. So that should be an interesting conversation. That's an hour too. In the meantime, we do have a new sponsor. But I was trying to do my homework again in class. It's Bet Any Sport /Dog TV. Dog TV, not Mind Dog TV. But with the Olympics coming up, you might want to consider betting on them. I will find, if I can, while I'm running the commercial for Daily High Club, because it's time to get this party started now. I'll look up the link for that, because you really should bet everything you have. Bet all your money. Everything. Empty your bank account and bet it on Olympic sports that you don't even know who's competing. Anyway, Daily High Club. Check it out.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now! Yeah, I could not find the link. I will somewhere during this discussion attempt to find the link and share it with you. So you can go to the bank today, empty out your bank account, and just bet it all on any sport. Right now, it's time to meet AJ Benza and this guy in the chair, and the chairman of the board, and Mr. Kane Enabled. Kane Enabled. Good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Hello, please.
Good morning, America.
Hey, pull your shade.
Yeah. MindDogTV.com. Are you having trouble with people who book you onto their show and then blame you when your grandfather dies? Well, book yourself onto MindDog TV. We have no grandfather clause, but we do have merch. MindDogTV.com. Enjoy the suffering.
Ron seems to be using a chainsaw on his cock. I don't know what that.
Yeah,
No,
I was taking the loads from my screen.
Oh, I can't tell what you know. What these green screen things are not all that good. They just make people disappear, arms and limbs disappear. I've never blamed anybody for the death of their grandfather. I suspect that some people are lying. They can't all be telling the truth. I mean, there's got to be some percentage of them who are lying. Yes or no? Or you think I'm just being too mean? I should believe everybody that says their grandfather suddenly died when they're supposed to be on the show.
I think you need to reread the grandfather clause in the contract.
My grandfather didn't.
Well, I mean, I guess of all of the family members to have die, a grandfather would be a good one to use because they're old, close to it, skin sagging because they're being pulled to the underworld. You know,
I had
that would make
an
sense.
employee. I could say his name, Wayne Volweiler. He worked for me at 25 years ago. He called in sick 3 times. Well, called in 3 times because his grandmother died. 3 times his grandmother died. Now, given the benefit of the doubt, 2 would be, if you're giving the benefit of doubt, acceptable. 3 is kind of confusing. How do you get 3 grandmothers die?
Your grandfather remarries, and
I was gonna say I have 3. I had 3 grandmothers for that reason. I had my grandmother on my dad's side, his dad's new wife, they got married when I was 1, so she was grandma also, and then my mom's mom. So I guess that would be the exception. That
No.
can't be every situation.
Yeah, not when you're 40 years old either. I mean, if you're 40
No,
years,
no.
your grandmother dies, your grandfather remarries. That's not your grandmother if you're 40 years old.
No, she remarried while he was very young.
No, then
you
it's just
don't have grandmother.
And really, how dare you make fun of the living impaired? I mean, come on.
Living impaired, I like that. Yeah. So yeah, here we are. We're going to be talking to somebody who wrote a book about a presidential assassination attempt. I'm kind of excited to hear what she has to say about the investigation and what's new in that thing that happened 50 years ago. But obviously, in the news today, they're covering the hearing that happened on Monday with the Secret Service director, but not the fact that she resigned already yesterday. The AI news is a day behind now. It's really that's a little frustrating, but clearly the dominoes are just starting to fall in the Secret Service. I mean, none of the agents have been fired yet. You would have think all those agents that would have been let go already. Immediately. I mean, come on, you can't put.
Well, to be honest,
that's
the way I feel about it. Those agents should stay with Trump. They should be given an opportunity to redeem themselves. So yes, let them put that same lineup back in and go, okay, guys, look, you almost lost the last game. This time we're gonna play better defense, all right? And when you stand them up, make sure you stand clear of his chest. Don't just make it easier. That's what I would do.
That's what you would do. So have you been offered the job of Secret Service director?
No, because I'm too competent.
You know, part of the reason they were screaming at her to resign was the fact that they hadn't passed out any discipline to the agents involved at all.
Well, she couldn't answer the simplest questions like, "What's your name?"
Yeah, if you watch that, and I mean, I guess I can see why the news is still kind of focused on it, is just because it was a fucking public execution of character and of that person's career, and it was
I would not think that shooting at Donald Trump was an execution of character. That's not.
No, not the shooter. Not him. I'm talking about the director.
Oh, I thought you meant shooting at Trump was an execution of character. It's like, no, that's not.
Why would you even think that? He was talking about the hearing. Are you paying attention
to what?
How stoned are you, GD? I just wanted to be able to say that for once.
But
But yeah, that whole hearing was just
Mike Chavola is totally clueless. You gotta shame me every day. You shame yourself with comments like that. The Democratic Party is fucking on fire, and I'm not a Democrat, and I've never been. But if you can't objectively look at that and see how excited they are to be rid of the old man and have somebody who can actually put together sentences, you're fucking just a fucking cult member, buddy.
This guy,
I mean, there's no get the fucking Kool-Aid out of your system, detox, and then come back and comment, because
he literally
this
posted
nonsense,
this. He posted this
man.
right after you said these words. They raised $100 million in 2 days. The party is on fire. And then he immediately responds with, "They seem scared to me."
It's just so fucking silly. Why would they impeach her if they wanted to run against her?
I just want to say it's okay, Mike, if you want to wear women's lingerie. It's 2024. We're not going to kink shame you. Wear your lingerie with pride. Yeah. You can do it. Yeah. You can do it.
No, my thing is that the Republican Party likes to accuse the Democrats of being racist, and there are some racist Democrats. I don't have any doubt about it. There are some racist progressives. I have no doubt about it. But the Democratic Party did not have to tell their people, don't be racist to the candidate. It was the GOP that, the top of the GOP that had to say, look, guys, try to be less racist. let's not be so racist. And when you have to tell them not to be racist, you're dealing with racists.
Yeah.
You know the meme of that kid sitting in class with the veins popping in his forehead, like he's not trying to scream out a word? It's the Republicans not trying to scream the N-word at the sight of this black lady running for president.
Right.
I mean, every day, every time at the doghouse, every time I see GD, we get together. I'm like, GD, I'm not racist, but
that is my favorite.
Yeah, he does. It's funny, and it's what follows the but that makes it seems like he's not sincere when he says that.
I actually think Ron is racist. He doesn't like white people. He's got no white friends. He hates white people.
Actually, he has lots of white friends. He just have big tits. Even the men, they all have big tits. He's a tit.
I do have big tits. Thank you for noticing.
I just like my comedy shows to have seasoning, Matt. That's all I like.
I like a little pepper.
Is it mayonnaise spicy enough for you?
Yeah. Is it time? She's already late, right? Sonia Linares.
Severely late.
Here it is.
She's on Catalonia time. So
Catalonia.
CPT?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Catalonia people time. CPT.
Yesterday we talked about the Olympics a little bit.
Yeah.
Where do you guys even know where they're? This is. I don't know if it's a trick question. Where is it being held this year?
Yeah.
You should pull the shade, by the way. You're just way too white.
Oh, thank you.
You're so right?
You're so white that Ron doesn't want to be your friend anymore.
It's in Paris because Snoop Dogg's going to be the host.
Yeah, because
the torchbearer.
Yeah.
The big story like 2 weeks ago, because I guess I don't know their president or prime minister or whatever was claiming that the river was clean. Yes. And she was going to swim in it, and everyone started shitting and pissing.
Yeah, that's it.
I did not. I was not aware of that. That should have been a feature on the program.
That's a great bit by the French people. Like, oh, I'm going to go swim in here. All right.
We will shit in your river.
If you have $1 in your bank account, go get it. And go to this link that's scrolling across the screen, affbetanysports.eu/dogtv, and bet everything you have on, I don't know, USA. Show your support for it. That's how you show your support. You don't go like
you want to make some easy money. Go to this link, bet on the USA winning the NBA or the NBA team that's in the Olympics. Bet on them in basketball. Win some easy money.
Yeah, and it's It's late July, so guys, you can plan for football season when there's crushing defeats, and when you want to put that pistol in your mouth, just get rid of all the ammo in your house, and then just do some empty clicks into your mouth, and you'll be okay.
We are not condoning suicide on this program.
I'm not condoning suicide. I'm just saying.
No, he condoned suicide like Fosse, like
if you just
pretending.
want to put an extra hole in your cheek or something, is what he's saying. Because don't shoot the bullet into your brain.
Yeah,
That's what
don't.
he's saying.
All I'm saying is don't place bets that are going to leave a hole in your head. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think Ron was talking about suicide. I think he was talking about DIY homicide. Totally different.
Oh, do it yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit disappointed about this.
You know what? I would love to go to a Home Depot and walk up to somebody. It's like, hey, I want to go. I want to do a DIY murder. What aisle is that?
Rope is on 7. Plastic tarps are on 12.
You probably have to pick the right person to ask, because the wrong person to ask could set off all sorts of alarm bells.
All right. Well, then how about DIY unalive themselves?
Okay. Well, if you see me working in those stores, come ask me. I will show you where everything is.
I was at the photo department in the drugstore. This was a couple years ago, and I went in and I asked them. I said, "Excuse me, I have a do-it-myself colonoscopy kit, and I need the right camera. Could you help me?" And the guy, first he just stared at me, and then he called for help. Like, excuse me, do we have cameras for do-it-yourself colonoscopy kit?
I don't know if you can. That's a whole other thing, right? I don't know if you can.
A whole other thing.
I don't know if you get any results by that, but I'm sure people are practicing for it. Your local sex toy shop, they were practicing.
putting a camera on the edge of a dildo and.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, we are in a very ass-centric period in human development where the ass is prominent in our society. The ass is really running the show. I guess it's always run the show in some way, but now it's really risen to the top.
At least we know asses run this show. So
that is true. We are 4 asses up in here, that's for sure.
So anyway,
ass be gone. That was quick.
Fucking guy. Get out! Yeah, now the ass is running the show. Yeah.
Ass be gone.
Yeah.
Welcome to Coffee with the Ass.
No, you know what? I hope your ship sinks in the middle of the Bering Sea. I hope your ship sinks.
I can.
That's mean. You know how cold that water is?
I know. That's why I hope. That's why I hope.
Terrible.
I know.
I could use some shrinkage. Yeah, sure.
Now you realize you might be like right under where World War III starts, with the Russians and United States sending jets too close to Russia or whatever. That whole thing. It's going to be right over your head when it starts.
Do I look scared? Do I look scared? I'm not scared. I ain't scared no little sissy.
As long as he's not directly in the path of the nuke, he won't get any radiation burn or sunburn. He's too dark. He doesn't sunburn, so he'll be fine.
I got SPF NIGGAH.
Whoa, no, you have SPF melanin. Jeez, don't be
SPF melanin.
We have Gubs on the air, man. Come on.
I didn't say the word.
You spelled it. It's close enough.
Oh, you're assuming that everybody on Gubs can spell. That's what you are a spellist. That's what you are. You are a spellist. You're just assuming that people can spell.
Russell, don't you dare put that evil on me.
Russell Brand made a mistake in trying to say the Democratic Party was just looking for somebody with melatonin in their skin. Like, wait a minute. Does she need to sleep? Is that the problem?
Russell Brand is a fucking retarded monkey.
Don't
insult the monkeys like that. Do not insult the monkeys like that. They did nothing to you.
I know. I apologize to the monkeys watching the show. It's not fair to you. Russell Brand sucks at everything.
I
he
think
does
there's
at
only
life.
one monkey remaining alive. That's Mickey Dolenz. So I think the rest of them are all dead. Right?
They didn't reform and form another group with like 3 other monkeys?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. What a
It
waste
is.
of time. That's a waste of music. That's a waste.
Maybe they
of
evolved
catalog.
into the gorillas.
They could probably sell their catalog for like $1 billion. They had like 3 songs, right?
They had lots of songs, but they didn't write any of them. They didn't perform any of them. I mean, Mike Nesmith had one hit with Linda Ronstadt, different drum that he wrote for her. But the other guys they were stage actors. They weren't real fucking.
But I thought they actually learned to play the instruments over time, and so eventually
they kind of like you play. In other words, shitty.
Yeah. But still, I can play my own guitar. I don't have stuff.
Not really. I mean, not really.
Yeah, I play well enough that
Go get it and do it. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up live on the Coffee with the Dog program, we're going to have a nice rendition of "Crack the Sky" on acoustic guitar. Or
shit, I had to practice a week or two for that because I haven't played a "Crack the Sky" song in years.
Crack the Sky is for wankers and cheap shaggers.
Oh my god!
You take that back,
cheap
shagger bastard. You take that back, you nasty bastard. Crack the Sky is like one of the best bands that never got national recognition.
For good reason.
In this country, but I believe in Lithuania they were huge.
They could have been. They should have been. They should have been huge all over the world. They were so fucking good. They were really, really good.
They were that good. I would have heard of them.
So last night,
you ever heard of Urban Poet Society? No, and they were a great band too.
I've never heard of them either.
Somebody's attacking me.
What happened? Who do we got to go after? Who's throwing off the roof?
I'll come back to that in a minute. So last night I was doing a reel on Guns N' Roses and came across a video of them. I guess recently, Axl Rose was fat and old looking, but he can't sing at all now. I mean, and I can't believe they put this video on YouTube. It's a live performance, and I promise you, I can sing high notes much better and closer to on pitch than he. It was awful. It was painful to listen to, and
it's really bad.
They hire backup singers. They got girls, girls singing behind them, and nobody has the balls or brains to say, "Axl, man, sing it lower or something. Sing it an octave lower." It was just.
That's what happens when you use auto-tuner instead of auto-tune. You just sound like a fucking fish.
Yeah. Who is attacking me?
I'm guessing when they're putting shit through the PA, they got to be processing his voice and shit, right?
Well,
it doesn't sound like it. It just sounds like it's just him sounding really bad the whole time.
Well, processing, you could put a doubler on it, you could put reverb on it, all that kind of stuff. Pitch correcting live, it will end up sounding like that Cher, If You Believe in Love, that where you can, it's honest, obvious pitch correction stuff. Still not to the point where it's really fast enough in the studio, in a live performance to be seamless like that. But no, they didn't try to help him at all. It was brutally bad. I should find the clip and
they probably were saying it was better than this in rehearsal, wasn't it? I mean, we didn't miss this in rehearsal, did we?
From my understanding and from what I've seen, he's sounded this bad for a few years now.
Well, yeah, I would think so. But he could, back in the day when they were, like 40 years ago almost, he could really sing and he could really hit those high notes. I saw him live plenty of times.
I don't know any of their music.
You don't know any of their music?
You don't know Welcome to the Jungle?
No, I didn't know that. I don't like when if I had to name a song, I wouldn't know their songs. If you tell me what you say, Rumble
Sweet Child of Mine.
Okay, I know that song. I didn't know who sang it.
Wow.
I don't know who.
Well, you know what? This argument loses everything because you're saying that you love Crack the Sky, but you don't even know.
Yeah,
I think.
But here's something.
I think he loves crack. And
I
this
love
guy.
Cracker Sky, and I don't know the name of any of their musicians. I love the music, and I love the band as a whole. I don't know any of the musicians. I don't know any of their names. Not one of them.
Do you know your own name?
I have a name.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I know what people call me.
So I have a question. Off subject here a little bit. Is it normal for wartime like leaders to meet with presidential nominees?
Yeah, it does happen.
It's not abnormal.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, because I know Kamala's
talking about
technically the
Netanyahu?
VP still, but yeah, she's meeting with Netanyahu. But I forgot that she was VP still, so never mind.
See,
But
here's what makes that different. It's not just a wartime leader. He's indicted by whatever
International Court, the ICC.
Yeah.
International Court of
So
People.
technically, at this point, he's a wanted criminal, worldwide wanted criminal, indicted for war crimes. That's a whole.
that was gonna be my next question. Wouldn't she have a responsibility to take action on him then?
The United States does not. We're not a member of that. We're kind of like a member adjacent, so to speak. We
kind of like Ukraine with.
We support them when it's convenient.
We shouldn't be We shouldn't be inviting him here to speak to Congress at that time. I think we should drop. And this is, certain pro-Israel people would just fucking hate me for this. What the fuck?
They have other reasons to hate you anyway.
Get in line. Just get in line. Get to the back of the line, because the line of hatred for me is, you're a hater. Yeah, you got to get on that line. Just look for a guy. Look for a guy without a power cord. You're a hater. I don't see any reason we just keep on funding money into Israel. I mean, I understand that we want some strategic allies in that area of the world, but you know what? Fuck that country. Let them.
We have allies in that side of the world. We don't need Israel.
And they have the ability to stand on their own, at least as much as any other country in NATO or any of that. They have almost a competent military, as competent a military as the United States. Not as big, but definitely a formidable force. It's not like they lose.
Yeah, but for the longest time, and I mean, I guess old habits die hard. When I believe when the U.S. started supporting them, Israel was basically surrounded by enemies. I mean, they were,
Well, whose idea was that? When they established Israel, they knew where they were establishing Israel.
Good job, God.
I think the plan was they thought Israel. It was like
Here we go. We're gonna have a separate country just for black people, and we're gonna put it right in Mobile, Alabama. How about that?
Mobile's black friendly. We need to put them around the Rehoboth area of Alabama.
All right, yeah.
Oh no!
The way that that might make sense in the sense that they're afraid that black people will become too confident and too dangerous, and this way that will keep them in check. But on the other hand, knowing that they're surrounded by enemies, that would make them even more eager to develop weapons and nukes and shit like that. So I can understand the logic. Try to keep the black people humble by surrounding them with a bunch of hatred.
No, you totally missed the point.
Them.
The point I was trying to make was that they knew the area that was hostile to begin with when they sent all the Jews there.
It wasn't hostile before they put the Jews there, though. That's what I'm saying. It was a very peaceful area. Then they put the Jews there, and then it became hostile. It's not like it was,
Oh
no! Actually, I don't know what it was. Actually, I don't know what it was like for the Jews around.
It would be like if GD visited the town I grew up in. Okay, they had -1 black person, and the reason that number even works is because the last time a black guy moved there, he got killed and buried. And they never found him.
Okay, how do you know he existed? How do you know he existed?
Oh, I mean, documents and everything that he moved there, and then he just came up missing.
If I were a homicide detective, I would say, how do you know he's dead if there's no body?
Well, my assumption is they didn't put a lot into the investigation. would be my guess. They're like, oh, he's gone. Okay. Like, it's what I think happened. But
switching gears. You know what, Sonia?
I swear, you better help me find my pappy, because I think that's where he is.
Your pappy.
My pappy. My pappy was a door-to-door salesman, and he went down there to sell just to feed our family. That's why he went down there, and he never came back, and our family nearly starved.
There were, even says there was unprecedented peace in the Middle East prior to the 1940s. Prior to the 1940s. I don't think there's ever been peace on the planet anywhere.
No, but things were definitely better there for sure.
2,000 years.
I honestly don't know, because I thought there were factions of Islam that did not like each other, and they were trying to put each other off anyway.
According to an author I had on 2 weeks ago, there was already genocide going on before the establishment of Israel in what is now Israel. And if you go there and mention that there was peace there, they'll look at you like you have 2 heads or 3 heads.
I seem to think that even in the 40s that there was Muslim on Muslim crime, but because it was Muslim on Muslim crime, killing the Shiites and the Sunnis were just at each other's throats. But because it was Shiites and Sunnis, nobody gave a shit. It's
I still don't give a shit.
See.
Yesterday on Facebook, my friend Keith Lowell Jensen. I don't know if you know him. He's a comedian at Sacramento.
We go way back.
KLJ. He's got a bunch of cool comedy specials on Amazon Prime. Go check them out. He wrote, "Read Project 2025. Know what your vote can stop." And my reply was that the people who need to read it absolutely won't, just flat out won't. And the people who already who they're voting that way, and you don't have to convince the other people of what the issues are, taking your rights away. And so a lot of his friends just got really angry with me. You know what? That's a defeatist attitude. It comes from reality. Listen, I challenged Mike Shavola to read it 2 weeks ago. I guarantee you, he has not even looked at it. Talk to my Trumper friends, they don't acknowledge it exists. I have a couple who said, well, the left has that too. Like, no, they don't. Find it and show it to me. Oh, what are you talking about? I was like, a document. Well, who authored it? I'm like, what? The Heritage Foundation, all of Trump's cabinet, by Trump, and we have video of Trump thanking them for completing it. And so they don't want to acknowledge it exists. There's no way they're going to take the time to read it. And if they do read it, they're just going to call bullshit on it. So what is the point? Oh, well, that's defeatist. There are people out there who can be reached. No, nobody who has drank the Kool-Aid and is deep into the cult world is going to change their mind. Even if you can say this to them, and here's the argument. You can say, if it could be proven to you that Donald Trump raped children, would you vote for him? Oh, that never happened. Well, if it could be proven to you that he did, would you still vote for him? And they won't answer that. They won't come out and say no. And then they'll say it can't be proven. Well, you know what? We can show you the evidence if you were willing to look at it, not willing to look at it. Not willing. It's all bullshit. It's Democratic. It happened while he was a Democrat. It happened while he was best friends with Bill Clinton.
This is what kills me too, is nobody seems to want to remember or realize how much money Donald Trump pumped into the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
For the Clintons, for Kamala Harris and Biden, for so many people. And they don't seem to remember this at all. He was a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party for a long time. And then he said he'd run Republican because Republicans are stupid and they'll fall for anything. And he's proven them right.
I don't think he actually ever said that. I think that's
that was AI generated from like the Stern Show interview.
I don't think he ever really.
But it still seems like something he'd say.
But I I did see a funny bumper sticker last night on this F-150 truck coming home. It said "Veterans for Trump," and that made me laugh because of Project 2025 and what they want to
Yeah.
do to veterans. And it's like, you dumb fuck.
Everybody. They want to fuck over everybody. All people are, and a lot of old people, are Trumpers. A lot of senior citizens are Trumpers. They want to take away all the Social Security, Medicare, all that.
And that's why people
veterans.
and that's why
And
people
porn,
are
and
excited.
porn.
And that's why people are excited over Harris, because we finally got a person that's not a geriatric. I really think we need a fucking woman to try and run this shit, because we know what the white guys can do. You don't have a great track record. Let someone else take it over for a bit.
Dude, for real. Because I tell you what, I'm so nervous about Trump winning right now and us losing Social Security and everything. That's part of the reason I'm going back to the job force, man. I need to start making money again and put it away for when shit goes south. Because I can't rely on my disability now. I'm scared that it's going to go away. They've already dropped it twice in the last year. So
I'm sorry to be accusatory and whatever this comes off as, but you can work. You're going back to work. Disability is supposed to be for people who can't work.
I'm not supposed to work.
But you can work.
I can. I'm not supposed to, because the last time actually I was able to work for a long time. I didn't want to go on disability, but my doctor re-cleared me to work, so I'm going back to work. So
okay. All right. Well, I don't mean to sound like a bully or anything, but
no, I totally agree, 1,000%.
Disability is meant for people who can't work, not for people who can work.
1,000%. I only went on it. I was only on it for 2 years. I was only on it when my doctor said stop. So yeah, my doctor re-cleared me. I went out and got interviews immediately, and
I would be glad. There's
no jobs out there, go suck a dick.
I would be glad to make a deal with Social Security. Write me a check for the 5 decades I put into Social Security, and then you don't have to pay me another dime after that. Write me one
I would be
check.
so down for that deal.
That was when I was running for office back in the early 90s or late 90s. I can't remember. Fuck, that was.
You sure you weren't running for the men's room?
I was running for something that was a long time ago. But my Social Security policy was, first of all, I was going to get rid of the donut hole so that you contributed to Social Security regardless of where you were in the economic table. Fuck that. And the other thing I wanted to do was when you file for Social Security, your first check from Social Security would be 10% of what you've already put in. It would be like one lump sum. So let's say you put in $100,000. Your first check would be for $10,000, and then you get your regular payments. And the purpose of that would be for, if you have, it helps you clear out before you go to where you're on a fixed income. Let's say you have a few $1,000s left for your car note, or a few thousand left on your house. You're going to own it clear. That would give you money to be out from underneath of that. So you would, or if you want to take one last cruise before you can't afford to do it anymore, or if you just got money, you just want to leave it to your grandkids, fine. But that lump sum is yours, that first check. And then after that, you get regular.
All right, get a little credit here. That is pretty funny.
That's good. That's a good one, Mike. I'll give you credit for that one. That was decent. You racist.
And just
son
for
of
the
a
record,
bitch.
Mike,
I
stopped. I used to run from the police. I stopped running from the police when I was about 17. Then I stopped running.
Have you seen that Sonia Massey video?
Yes, and that's
it's fucking horrible, man. That's straight up fucking murder.
He told her to take the pot off the stove.
Right.
Because it was.
Here's the thing, though.
He didn't want to start a fire, so she picks up the pot, and he fucking shoots her and says, "I don't want to get hit in the face with a bunch of hot water." You're 12 feet away. Back away. You don't pull your fucking gun out.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think that's deadly force in any situation. Even if she did intend to throw, and it doesn't appear like she was being very cooperative and doing everything she could. She was scared. She was wearing a fucking bathrobe in her own house.
She didn't even have the pot off the stove when they shot her. If you watch the video, she's covering her face with oven mitts.
Right.
Like she's cowering in fear, and you still shot her in the fucking face. Like, what?
And 20 on 1. It's not like, and she was clearly unarmed. It's like, did you think like there was any chance she was going to be the aggressor in that situation? A woman against 20 big cops with guns. She's got no gun. She's in a bathrobe. And no need to just fight off. I think 3 shots. I didn't count, but more than 1 shot. Pop, pop, pop.
And to answer to answer what you assumed earlier, yes. If there was any case that should receive the death penalty, it is 1,000% this one, and it should be live streamed because that dude's a fucking monster. Both of them, the two that were directly involved. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. I mean, again,
maybe the cop had drowning issues. Like maybe when he was young,
no excuse.
He almost drowned in a pot of water. He saw the pot of water and he went immediately thought, I'm going to drown again, and he shot her. Maybe that's it. Maybe
that cop can go lose some keys off a pier. Fuck that guy.
GD's going to be his character witness when he.
Yeah, no shit. What are you going to be? His fucking his counsel?
Charged, but when does that trial actually happen? That guy's been charged.
Well, there's going to be 2 different trials, right? Because the DOJ is investigating it also, so there's going to be probably a federal one and a state one.
What's to investigate? There's a fucking video.
Well, they're probably investigating to see if it's a hate crime.
There's high def video. Like what the fuck?
Stephen, Ron is speaking or attempting.
Bad.
What I don't understand is why aren't police required to do therapy once a week?
I don't have the answer to that. It's just funny. That's because I mean,
no, I was just saying that. Why aren't police required to do therapy every week?
I thought that's what cop bars are for. I thought when they went to go drinking, that's what that was. They talk out the issues. They, to get all touchy feely. It's like
I think it's crazy that we don't assume that cops don't have the same kind of lives that the rest of us have, where they get trauma and they get shit on top of what they experience when they're on the clock. Right? These guys absolutely have to be in therapy.
Yeah, like
it should be a requirement.
Yeah, because every day you're going into situations that are normally bad and people just treating you like shit. So those people need to talk to somebody like every fucking week just to say, hey, it was a shitty week. This person yelled at, just to fucking get it off their chest instead of beating their wives or drinking or the drug use or just being terrible people in general.
Yeah, because let's be real. Of all those cops, there's maybe 1% of them that have the thick skin to do the job and not let it affect their personality or whatever. But 99% of the rest of them are just regular people who experience the same kind of mental issues we all do, and they need the therapy just as much. It's ridiculous. And these guys get to walk around with guns and be the law.
It's like fighting somebody in a wheelchair. You probably need therapy. It's just all I'm saying.
Oh no, I'm kind of an asshole. I'd fight me if I could walk.
You just need to be able to punch low. That's all.
That's the thing. You get low enough, I'm taking you down. So that's to your detriment. So
no, punch low.
He ran over my toes.
It sounds like you guys are big believers in the talking cure. I'm not sure that therapy.
No,
I mean,
because here's the thing: therapy doesn't fix everything, but it helps.
Anything, in my opinion. But guys,
okay, I would agree with you, but like I've been in therapy for a little over 2 years, and it's made an incredibly huge world of difference in certain aspects of my life. So, I mean, it definitely helps. Now, is it a cure-all? Absolutely not. Is it going to fix every mental issue? No, of course not. Is it going to prevent every tragedy? No. But will it help? I think it would drastically make a difference if these guys were required to at least sit down with someone to get it off their chest, because most of them are old school dudes who think I have to just stomach this all and just bear it, and then they explode, and then they shoot a poor black lady in the fucking face for doing nothing but boiling water. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think the therapy has to be necessarily sit down, talk therapy. I used to have issues with rage, and talking it out didn't help me. But what did help me was
fucking sex toys. right, let's move on.
Say martial arts helped me. I could go into a room and take out my sword, and I could just whack shit up, and get it out that way.
But again, that was a
yeah,
positive
yeah.
outlet that you could
Yes,
utilize.
and that's what I mean
that
by
teaches,
therapy. By therapy, yeah, that's what I mean by therapy.
see,
A
but it
positive
teaches
outlet for
very
your
similar
rage.
things that therapy does, because certain martial arts will teach you certain things that like therapy does, like self-control, breathing it out.
Rex Human's therapy was getting hookers off of Craigslist and chopping them up into little pieces.
Not a healthy
It was
outlet.
very therapeutic for him.
Yes, but not a healthy outlet though.
Yeah, that's
different. That'd be like a cop saying, listen, I go home and that's the beat my wife thing. I go home and beat my wife so I don't shoot poor
The
black
Dana
ladies.
White therapy,
That's not a good outlet.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
terrible outlet too.
But and just I'm just saying, if I'm sitting out there and the cop has a gun on me and he says, I didn't beat my wife last night, so I got to shoot you, I would say, look, take your time, count to 10, go beat your wife, come back and see if you feel like shooting me then. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
That's, yeah.
I mean, of the two, that's probably preferred, sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I'm just saying. And believe me, I am not pro domestic violence. I grew up in that atmosphere, and I detest domestic violence. But if it's a choice.
I happen to be a battered man. My wife beats me every day, but
my ex-wife used to physically abuse me quite a bit, so I understand.
Here's my problem. I have interviewed hundreds of psychotherapists, and they're all fucking quacks. They're all fucking.
That's why they go into the field. They go into the field because there's something damaged in them or their family, and they're trying to figure that out or fix that.
Well, right now,
that's why we all do what we do.
Well, right now they're not doing anything, so a little bit would help something. Because
but if they talk to this is my thing. If they end up talking to the people I've had on my program, they're probably going to be more likely to do bad shit because
But maybe then they only shoot therapists. No, I'm just.
Well, and here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. There's therapists out there that are fucking horrible, but more often than not, you can find a decent match. And here's the thing. You don't have to go lay on a couch somewhere and be stared at and judged. Like my sessions, for example, mine's a phone call. And it's very much just kind of like talking to a friend, except they're a third party. They're not judging from any one direction.
You think that, but in the
oh no, they're judging. But
I'm saying they have the mute button on. They're laughing their ass off at you.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. I expect that, but. Yeah,
if you're going into work every day and you got to face people that aren't happy to see you, or you're going to fucking domestic violence calls, which is the highest rate of calls that police go to, you fucking need therapy because the fucking people are really fucked up, and to say that to go into a call where the situation is really fucked up, then it ends and you're like just supposed to go, you should go home and be happy now. How?
Yeah, well, if
one of the people,
what about the cities where cops are ambushed on a regular basis, or even like paramedics are ambushed on a regular basis? You got to live with that fear in the back of your head too.
One of the people who does that kind of therapy was engaged with my friend on Facebook. This is a licensed psychologist therapist who was basically, and I told you guys about this. She said, if Trump is so morally bankrupt, how come his family love him? This is the kind of person you're going to for help who says, well, if he's a bad guy, how could his family love him?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Just like with any medical professional, you're going to find good ones and bad ones. My therapist that I have now wasn't the first one that I found. I had to go through like 4 of them to find one that worked.
You believe you found a good one. I would counter your assertion that she's the rule and not the exception. I would say, from my experience, the rule is they're all fucking worse off than the people they're trying to help.
When I was in my 20s, I had a therapist help me through an issue, and she was great. She was fantastic. As a matter of fact, as soon as we got over the issue that I wanted to bang her because she was so hot, she could help me she could help me once I got over the sexual thing.
My therapist.
Can I ask you just a serious question? Was she up on a ladder when you? Because it looked like you were trying to look up a skirt.
No, he was looking up my butthole.
No, actually, I was remembering what she looked like.
Yeah, but was she up on a ladder?
No, that's where I go for my memories. My memories were up there.
What do you paint them on the ceiling? Is that what happened?
No, right above the window.
He's one of them weird guys that thinks with his real brain instead of his other brain.
Nobody puts memories on the ceiling. You put them
All
above the
fuck
window.
you. It's time for news. Now with the old mispronounced AI news, it's our good friend Alan Edwards. And
the Israeli military ordered the evacuation of a crowded area in the Gaza Strip designated as a humanitarian zone, stating plans for an operation against Hamas militants there.
The order prompted a new exodus of Palestinians, many of whom had recently taken refuge there. Thousands of Palestinians, carrying backpacks and accompanied by children, walked along dusty roads under the scorching sun. Many have been displaced multiple times in search of safety during Israel's air and ground campaign. Benjamin Wright reporting.
3 homes were destroyed after one of many dangerous wildfires in the west swept into a Southern California neighborhood during a scorching heat wave.
The homes were consumed when the fire broke out Sunday afternoon in a hilly area of Riverside, a city approximately 60 miles east of Los Angeles. 4 other structures were damaged, according to Riverside Deputy Fire Chief Steve McKinster. The cause of the fire, which had burned just under a square mile, remains under investigation. Lawrence Keller reporting.
CrowdStrike announced this week that a significant number of the millions of computers that crashed on Friday, causing global disruptions, are back online as customers and regulators await a detailed explanation of the issue.
A defective software update sent by CrowdStrike to its clients disrupted airlines, banks, hospitals, and other critical services on Friday, affecting around 8.5 million machines running Microsoft's Windows operating system. The repair process has often required IT crews to manually delete files on affected machines. Liam White reporting.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle faced sharp criticism from both Republicans and Democrats
2 days ago before she resigned yesterday.
The attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
Lawmakers were outraged at her refusal to answer questions concerning security failures at the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. Cheadle informed the House Oversight Committee that the attack represented the most significant operational failure for the Secret Service in decades, and repeatedly emphasized her full responsibility for the security lapses. Jim Kender reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The best state to retire in the U.S. is also one of the smallest, according to a new ranking.
Based on its high marks for affordability, access to high-quality health care, overall well-being, and other categories, Delaware, known as the first state, earned the top spot in Bankrate's annual ranking of the best states to retire in the U.S. In 2023, the state ranked number 2, behind Iowa. Bankrate ranked states based on their scores across 5 key metrics: affordability, overall well-being, access to health care, weather, and crime. Jessica Oakley reporting.
U.S. auto safety regulators are investigating complaints that some Ram pickup trucks and Jeep Wagoneer SUVs can lose power, shift into park, and apply the emergency brake.
The investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration covers approximately 150,000 vehicles made by Stellantis from the 2022 model year. All have the company's 5.7-liter e-torque mild hybrid system, which can allow the vehicle to power itself. The agency states that the system converts captured energy from braking to power some electrical components. Paul Gomez reporting.
A Baltimore man was arrested for the recent shooting of a 12-year-old girl who was found dead on the first floor of an East Baltimore Row home.
The shooting occurred last Friday night. Police quickly identified 28-year-old Omar Passmore as a suspect. Passmore had a child with the victim's mother, according to charging documents. Police believe he was the only person inside the house with the victim, 12-year-old Brianna Corm.
Here comes TD with a Crack the Sky hit called I don't know the name of this song.
I'm trying to see if I remember it.
I'm sorry. It's I don't remember this song.
I used to cover a few of their songs, but one of my favorites to play was Lost in America. I used to love that one a lot, and I was trying to remember it. But it starts off with a solo, and that's I'm like, I'll probably remember the chords, but the solo, I have to get that right.
Let's hear the chorus then.
Yeah, just fucking sing. Just sing. Come on, sing.
Sing a song. Do the thing.
No, I'm not a monkey. I don't perform just because you.
No, not like that. No, that's
no.
Never say that. That's terrible.
I'm not going to do it unless I know I can do it right, and I don't think I can do it right, so I'm not going to do it.
You do comedy all the time, and you never do it right.
That's right.
I do it right enough for me.
Come on, guys, help me out here, pussy.
Fine. I can't be.
Yeah, you big floppy puss. Let's go.
No,
doesn't bother me.
Come on, you guys don't fucking help at all.
There's nothing you can call me that's going to upset me or get me to do what you want me to do.
You Trump loving lingerie wearing pussy.
Thank you.
That do anything for you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I was at an intersection 2 days ago, and I saw a Tesla truck come bowing down and appeared to run a red light and catch fire, and the guy kept driving while the thing was on fire.
Are you sure the guy was in control, or he was just behind the wheel?
I went the other way.
He may not have been able to stop, but the truck was going like, "I know you want to get out, but you can't."
You should have shot video, sent it to the news station, and put Mind Dog TV on the tag when they use it on the air.
I was making a left. He was going by that way, and I was making a left. So I just figured it's somebody else's problem now.
I would have ripped a sticky and went after him, man. I wouldn't have cared. I would have went right after him.
Yeah, you couldn't. From where I was, you could only make a left. You can't make a right. It's these weird roads around here, but you're not allowed to make a. There's no way you could make a right there. So it's and he was in lots of traffic too. So I'm sure there were cars all surrounding him, hitting the panic button and slamming on the brakes and crashing and all that kind of stuff. I didn't look on the news to see what became of that, but I just assume. It was a major traffic traffic congestion problem.
I have a question now. Now we're talking about traffic. This is just, I think I was in Jersey, and the town I was in, you could not make left turns. Even if you wanted to go left, you had to turn right and make a U-ey. And I didn't know if that was, I think it's like a U-ey, like you turn right and then come back if you want to make a left. There are no left turns. Everything is right.
In Jersey is like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't know if y'all had that, like if you had that near you or I know Ron doesn't, but because
I don't have that generally near me. But when we come out, there are roads here where there's a bypass and then there's the local road, and the local road sometimes will have those kind of things. No making a right from here. This is only like a extra road to get you back onto the main road or whatever. So
Our town has cut down on left turns real bad. They put medians on every road or they're one way. So, I mean, unless they're one way and you can go right. But I mean, outside of that, it's all can't make left turns. You got to do U-E's and go right.
With the emergency brake thing reminded me of the Mitch Hedberg bit where he got a rental car and he drove 200 miles with the emergency brake on. And he said, that doesn't say a lot for me, but it says even less for the emergency brake. You can drive with an emergency brake on. Obviously, emergency brake doesn't really do it.
The emergency brake is not supposed to stop the car. It's matter of fact, I think it's misnamed. I don't know why they call it the emergency brake because it's not for stopping. It doesn't.
Well,
stop.
the real name is parking brake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
It's supposed to keep once the vehicle has stopped, it stops it prevents it from going anywhere.
Right. Yeah. It should be called the comfort lever. But did you notice Elon balked on his $45 million to Trump now?
Yeah. Because I think he thinks that, first of all, he really is a cheap fuck, and he tries to get out of every contract that he get, verbal or otherwise. He just doesn't want to give up. He's a dick.
Most super rich people are. I find that to be, you would think. Like there are exceptions, and there are notable exceptions people can bring up, but most of them got that way by being very stingy, very penny wise. And really caring about where every penny goes. So
yeah, but I can understand being aware of where your pennies go. I don't understand going back on your word or an agreement, even if it's not a written document. I mean, if you and I have a handshake deal, and you say, GD, and I say, Matt, look, if you need me to come help you move, I'll come help you move, and you go, okay, whatever, and then you go to move, and you call me, and I go, I didn't think you actually were going to move. You told me your wife would never let you move. When I said that, I thought you were never going to move. Damn, man, what the fuck is up? Right. I'd be going back on my word. I'm a man of my word because that's all I have. That's literally all I have that I can take with me. Everything else is going to be left behind, so to speak. All I have is my word, and I'm not going to have people think that I'm not a person of my word.
That's admirable.
Thank you.
All right.
Still a pussy though.
Yeah, still.
Exactly. That's fine. That's fine. I can live with people thinking I'm a pussy. Because
I love you, GD. I'm just kidding. I love you. Don't hate me.
Look, I know pussies are tough because they babies get pushed out of those things and then they snap right back in there. As a matter of fact, they slap back with a vengeance. Most pussies scare a lot of dicks after they do that. A lot of dicks go, oh, she just had twins. I'm not touching that. I can't. She just pushed out twins.
Mostly because they're not equipped to touch it. But that's fine.
Mind Dog TV is down again.
God damn it.
I can't blame this on CrowdStrike because according to AI News there, Al, that's been resolved.
So it
was up before the show this morning. That's all I know.
I think it's probably my fault because once I said that we didn't have a grandfather clause, there was probably a run onto minddogtv.com and then
looking for the grandfather clause that they couldn't find.
And there's so many people, it crashed the site.
They were using the site search, grandfather clause, and everybody was going looking for that same thing, and the queries just blew up the server. Thank you. That's
yeah, it's my fault. I apologize. I humbly apologize.
Pussy.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. May I have another? I'm really upset with this. You know, these people who don't show up for the show. They confirm when you send them the link. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. See you there, and then don't show up. Now in Spain, it's not morning.
They're doing an Elon Musk. They're doing an Elon Musk and backing off from what they said.
Correct. That's correct. By the way, Elon Musk
they promised Matt $47 million a month, and then they're backing out.
Yeah, 47 cents a year. That's what they promised me. Last night, I had a guy on who is an author of a book about the Big Bang. Hubble Humason and the Big Bang. You guys know who Humason was?
Isn't that chickpea dessert, that chickpea dish that you put pita bread in and eat it?
No, that's hummus, and not Humason.
Oh.
That's hummus on. Hummus in the sandwich.
No, okay, because I was thinking hummus on pita.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, we have a guest who actually shows up. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
This week has been better than last week with these no-shows. So we've had, I guess we're on record now, 2 complete no-shows for this week so far. Yesterday's, and that one was on me, Rianita Hora, who she actually scheduled for 10:15, but when I sent her the email, I screwed up and wrote 9:15, and that's why she didn't show up yesterday. And then this morning with Sonia. But here's the thing. In Spain, where Sonia is this morning, it's not morning. It's like mid-afternoon. I don't know what the excuse might be in that case, because she did.
We booked her during her siesta. Doesn't she have siesta? Yeah, we booked her during siesta.
All right. Well, I'm kind of
Spain reference. I got it.
I'm happy that we've done better than last week. We're only down to 2 no-shows out of 9 potential guests, which is an improvement over 7 out of 9 from last week.
No doubt.
Now, very rarely is it because a publicist has scheduled them. It's the musicians and comedians who are really just wasting my time. And I don't think they realize how much time I have to put into the work. There is some time involved. I have to create the promo stuff. I have to create the graphics for the show and all that kind of stuff, get the bio and do a minimal, not like
practice saying their names so you don't fuck that up. That's like
I'm gonna fuck that. Thank you for yeah. I'm gonna.
I just want to say something real quick. This has nothing to do with anything. You just reminded me of it. Yesterday, a friend of mine had posted a video, and I was like, he didn't have any views yet or any comments. So I watched it. I commented, I said something very nice and about the guy and funny. And then he puts a little laughy thing. And then the next comment says, "Thank you. I love you, man." So I thought he was talking to me and I wrote, "Love you too." Turns out that comment was someone else responding right after I did. They were saying to that person, "Love you, man," to him. And I went, "Love you too." And then I realized, oh shit, they think.
I can help you with that. Anytime you think somebody is saying "I love you" to you, not happening. It's never happened.
Well, I thought it was weird, but I thought it was unusual. But
unusual.
I was going to be.
It would be psychotic.
I
love
wasn't going to be
GD. I
different.
think he's great.
And then once I hit send, I felt like, oh damn, I can't take it. Once I hit send, I realized what had happened. I said, I can't take it back now, can I? No, it's out there.
Well, with the two, I would go in and edit the two out and just say "love you," and then it seemed like you just.
I could have said "love you, Haktui."
All right, we can move. Can we move on a little bit here?
Sure.
Now, because I am going to mess up her name. It's either Spieler or Speiler. I should roll a dice and just pick one. Jerry Speiler is the author of Housewife.
No, it's Spieler. It's Spieler.
It could be.
I know it's Spieler because
would you let
the name right? And you said
she's
Spieler,
shaking her
so I
head.
know
Yes,
wrong.
it's Spieler. Go on.
Okay, yes. If you please, just shut the hell up. She's the author of Housewife Assassin and her latest book, which I believe is not out yet, Regina of Warsaw, both nonfiction books. Housewife Assassin is about Sarah Jane Moore, who you guys are too young to remember, but there were actually two assassination attempts on Gerald Ford. Sarah Jane Moore being a housewife, and don't know her motivation, so we're going to learn about her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Jerry Speiler.
Hi, Spieler. It's Spieler.
Spieler.
Yes.
See, I get it wrong. I apologize for that.
I have a question,
you still
though.
got it wrong.
Are you still running for Congress?
I am. Unfortunately, I don't know how to not run. I couldn't get off the ballot. So I am running, but I'm expecting to get 2 votes because I'm not campaigning at all.
I did my homework.
You did your homework. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to kind of still advocate for the causes and the things that getting the dark money out of politics and the accountability, Citizens United, and all that kind of stuff. Getting it down to where we can't buy representation. It's really for the people and not the corporations. Yes. But thank you for being here, and I'm sorry for messing up your name.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, if we could start with the book of Housewife Assassin, because
Sure.
I'm really curious about this. Now, Sarah Jane Moore was the second, right? The second person to try to kill Ford.
Well, the first one, Squeaky Fromm, really didn't want to shoot at Ford. She just wanted to get arrested because she wanted publicity for Charlie. There was no bullet in the chamber of her gun. But when you see a gun and you see a president, you don't ask questions.
Right.
Sarah Jane actually fired a shot at Ford and missed his head by 6 inches only because the sight was off of the gun by 6 inches. I will quote Richard Vitamonte, the FBI case agent, who said she had him between the eyes. If she was able to get that second shot, he would have been killed. And that's also what Judge Samuel Conte said in his comments to her when she had her hearing is, you would have killed the man. So but it was never in the press because, and this is all in the book and it's all vetted and verified by lawyers, etc. They didn't want the country to know how close we came to another presidential assassination. So they just whitewashed it, said she was a loner and a housewife and just wanted publicity and let it go in 2 weeks. And that isn't what happened. But I got the files opened after 30 years, actually, when my FBI case agent said it's time to set the record straight. And of course, that's really what helped sell the book. And I have an interview of Ford in the book, which we have sold live.
Now, my question is, to me, that seems demeaning to women. The fact that they just said, let's push it off. It's like, she was just looking for attention. And I mean, if it had been a man, they probably would have said, gave the whole story. But because it was a woman, it just seems to me, it seems sexist to me, the way they handled it.
Well, Squeaky was, she was crazy to begin with. I mean, remember, she was a member of the Manson family. She was
a little
not.
Bit, she was
she
never
wasn't?
a member of the Manson family. No. Squeaky was a member of the Manson family.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah,
Squeaky was.
sorry.
Yeah. She was.
Yeah.
I have a
So
question.
What?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Did they ever discover how she even got the gun near the president to begin with?
She didn't look like an assassin. The Secret Service profile was of a young man between 20 and 30 years old, a loner and foreign born and delusions of candor. This woman looked like your mom, your neighbor, your garden lady. They were not looking for her in the crowd. She had her gun in her little purse, her little trench coat. And when she was ready, she pulled the gun out of her purse, aimed, and missed by 6 inches. She was in the military. She was a marksman in the military. So had she had the right gun, and this is what freaked out, the FBI and the Secret Service and the judge, is she would have killed him. But Oliver Sipple, who had been a Marine, everybody else in the crowd went that way. Oliver Sipple went this way. And he bumped her arm and made the second shot go wild.
Oh, wow.
A lot of
I'll have
relevance to
questions
what's going
later
on
about
today.
the Trump thing then. After that.
Well, don't you have a job interview to go to?
That's today.
No, very relevant to today, because I have been saying for at least a couple of years now, the Secret Service, this is not this ineptitude that we're seeing. They have never been an efficient organization. I mean, obviously, it's a very hard job to do. But with relevance to what's going on today, and the director resigning because of we don't know what's going on. I don't know. Can't answer a simple question. They were inept then, because the fact that she even got close to him with a gun, it suggests, and the fact that he would have been killed had her sight been correct, it points to the fact that they weren't doing their job. They weren't adequately protecting the president. Yes or no?
Well, I would say that since when I interviewed President Ford, that he really liked to be among the people. He loved being in the crowd. After that, they didn't allow it anymore. And the FBI, profile of an assassin now is everybody, every single person in the crowd. But you don't see, you didn't see Barack Obama walking in the crowds. He was he was away, and there were more people around him. Now, things can happen.
But only 4 years later, Reagan was walking, well, not in a crowd, but he was definitely exposed outdoors of the hotel there. So.
Yes.
I don't think Barack Obama is a good thing to measure, only because I honestly believe that the agents, none of them wanted to be responsible for the only Black president to be shot on their watch. I don't think anybody wanted that. So I think they were like on their
race with him.
That's a career ender, though, for sure.
But I honestly think that was going through their mind. And I also think that if the agents had hired more minorities, the minorities would have suspected the woman with the gun, because, like, my mom, I'd have saw my mom and that woman and go like, oh yeah, she's a shooter, because my mom shot at my dad. So I'd have suspected the woman right away.
So the FBI's profile of who they suspect an assassin would be, does that ever change? Because it seems like the profile you just described almost describes this guy that shot at Trump. And he was able to walk through the crowd with a gun, climb a roof, be visible to police, and get shots off before he was taken out. Well, so I mean, this seems like this fit that profile to the T.
Yes, he did. And I don't have an answer for the Secret Service.
No. I was just curious what your input was, because that just seems like a total collapse in every protocol they have.
You're
for what
right.
had happened.
They dropped the ball. Yeah, they dropped the ball badly, and not only walking through the crowd, but also being so close on a roof that he could shoot and be within distance, to kill the president.
Because I'd always assumed, like, when a president or an ex-president or a candidate does something, I was under the assumption that they do a clear of like a mile or two. They clear every rooftop, every open high window, and they clear everything. And this guy was 200 yards away. I mean, that's really crazy.
Well, they didn't follow their own protocol.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
were you able to figure, or was the FBI or the Secret Service able to figure out what her motivation for? Why did she want to kill Ford?
She was a member of a very radical organization called Tribal Thumb. There's more information about them now than when I was researching them. They killed people. They used her. Because she looked like your neighbor. They groomed her, and the issue was Ford wasn't elected,
right,
and his vice president wasn't elected, and they thought the country was going to the dogs, and they wanted to start a revolution. That was one of the things that was behind all of this, is that they wanted to start a revolution by killing Ford. And she was the perfect foil. Like I said, the Secret Service wasn't looking for her, but the FBI and the Secret Service dropped the ball, because this wasn't the first gun she had, and this wasn't the first time that she came to their attention. When Ford was at Stanford, before he went to the meeting in San Francisco, he was in the Bay Area, she said, "I'm going to test security." And they knew that she had a gun that day. They picked her up. They took the gun away. They kept her for 24 hours. And then when Ford came to San Francisco, they let her go.
Wow.
There were some very lateral career moves after that happened, because they knew that she was a potential threat. But again, it's not who they were looking for in the crowd. And everything changed after that. But like Stephen, like you said, they really dropped the ball, when Trump was speaking.
Now this is curious. Now you're from the Bay Area. That's what attracted you to this story, right? Or not?
I'm from Los Angeles. And when she shot at Ford, I was in LA and she was up here. I was working for the Times. I didn't cover her, but I did a story about Sybil Brand Jail, which is the largest women's jail in the country. And there was a class action suit against them because their law library wasn't equal to the men's law library. So I did a story about Sybil Brand Jail. It ran. She was south of Los Angeles, being evaluated by the psychiatrist because she pleaded guilty. So the judge wants to be sure that she can stand in her own, defense or non-defense, that she knew what she was doing. She saw my story. Sarah Jane never met a newspaper reporter she didn't love. And she wrote to me and said, "I know I'm going to be incarcerated not far from you, and I'd like to meet you." And I thought, I've never met an assassin before. I wonder what she's like.
And today you've met 3 others.
Yeah. So I said, sure. And it was in January when she was finally sentenced. And I went to meet her at Terminal Island Prison. And I'm sitting in this human warehouse in this big room. And I'm waiting for her. And this lady comes out from across the room, and she's wearing civilian clothes. I thought she worked there. And she came over to me, and she leaned over and she says, "Are you Jerry?" And I said, "Yes." She grabs my hand and she says, "Thank you for coming. That's so lovely of you." And I thought, we must be going to lunch. That was Sarah Jane Moore. She's charming. This latest interview that this one good reporter did is not the Sarah Jane that I met. She was little curly hair. You can find pictures of her in the book or online. She looked like anybody in the world. Charming, gracious, very, very, very bright. Not what you think of an assassin.
Right. Raises the question about the whole recruitment of people, because she was part of an organization that wanted a revolution. What do you believe in like Manchurian candidate type of recruitment or brainwashing or cultivation of these people?
Well, look at the Symbionese Liberation Army and Patty Hearst.
Right.
There's an example from one extreme, from very, very, privileged, wealthy family to, a street criminal.
Right.
Yeah, I think I
Did we
definitely
ever get to the bottom of, because that was always a little bit fishy. Was she really kidnapped, or did she go with them willingly? On that, I mean, I hate to switch gears here, but did we ever get like the real facts on the Patty Hearst?
Yeah, she was kidnapped. You know,
She was.
but she was also very young and impressionable, and wanted to show her family that I can make the world right. It was all typical of young people. What was she, 18 or something? Yeah.
Yeah, the reason it doesn't feel like it's hard to relate to from a human perspective that I got kidnapped. I can't imagine myself letting my kidnappers convert me into being on their side. It's a very hard thing to wrap your mind around. Again, it might be a female, more of a female thing than a male thing. The idea that, because my inclination would always be a contrarian to them and not ever cooperate with them, but it's easy to say that, never being in that position. So,
but you're also not 18.
Yeah, that's true.
He hasn't been 18 for like 130 years. So,
Sorry about that.
And I don't think it's a female thing. I think it's more of a personality thing. It's not a gender thing, because I'm sure it happens.
I would agree. I think it's
I didn't know you guys were
thing.
scholars on that particular case, but thank you for chiming in. And Stephen, it's great to have you on the program all this time. Now you're gone. And anyway, so before we move on to Regina of Warsaw, getting the FBI to open up to you and be cooperative with this book, difficult?
It was difficult to get to the agent I wanted to get to, which is typical. They will not give up each other's information. And so as I was doing my research and finding people to talk to, start with the secondary research, what's been written, and then call those people to get new information, everybody kept saying, oh, the FBI, you need to talk to Richard Vidamonte. You need to talk to Richard Vidamonte. So I said, well, can you give me his information? I'd like to. Well, we'll tell him you're looking for him. That went through 3 different agents. Finally, I got a call one night, and this is exactly what had sounded. I answered the phone, and he says, is this Jerry Spieler? And I said, yes. This is Vito. Well, Richard Vidamonte to you. I hear you're looking for me. What do you want? And I told him what I want. I'm doing this book about Sarah Jane Moore. And he said, I don't do anything on the phone, and I'm not going to do it on email. You want to talk to me, you come up to where I live. I live in Walnut Creek in Northern California. That fortunately, I was in the Bay Area by that time. And I said, is yesterday too soon? The first time I saw him, he just was talking to me and checking me out. It was like some kind of conspiracy theory nut job. So after an hour of chatting, and I'm waiting to talk about Sarah Jane, he says, well, it's time to set the record straight. I have to call Washington. That's a quote. I'll let you know. And I was going crazy, waiting to hear from my poor husband. Is he going to call? Is he going to call? He finally called. I've got the goods. You want to come up here? I went to his house. He had everything laid out on his kitchen counter. Sarah Jane was standing here. Ford was standing there. She was 40 feet. And that's when he said, she had him between the eyes. They tested the gun. And he said, my blood ran cold when I realized how close she came to killing the man. And that was Richard Vidamonte, who was actually, let me preface that, he was retired so he could talk to me, but he got the file opened for me, which was absolutely phenomenal. He was fabulous.
All right. Now, we hear often about this deep state thing. Do you believe in this idea of deep state?
I'm not sure. I'm not 18 either, just to let you know.
Yeah.
See, I told you I had you as 21.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you'll get a Christmas card this year. I do think that there could be a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. We don't like to think about that. But I knew Sarah Jane for like 25 years and got to know her real, real well. And what I researched was, I think, what really happened. getting to know who she was and her life and how she would constantly reinvent herself and want to be very important to people. And she wanted to be so important to Tribal Thumb. That was Sarah Jane.
I think that's epidemic in the world today. And can't wait to talk to Kelly Carlin about this, George Carlin's daughter, about the identity crisis in the world today. I think a lot of, because she can definitely relate to these kind of things where people want to be, they desperately want to feel like they matter in the world. And I think this sounds like the Sarah Jane Moore profile is, just to be important in some way. And possibly the kid, Thomas Crooks, it's just that too. It's just, I want my life to be in the history books in some way. And that there's a lot of that going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, on the deep state, I think, because I've talked to a lot of FBI agents, CIA agents, and basically, I think there are corrupt individuals, but the massive cooperation that makes it a organization. It's kind of like the mafia, There's no disorganized crime. It's not really organized crime. It's very disorganized and very individual. That's my perception of it anyway, and I could be completely wrong about that. Now, moving on to this book, Regina in Warsaw. Why? Basically, if you could just give an idea of who Regina of Warsaw was to the audience, and then we'll talk about why you decided to write this story.
Regina was my grandmother. The story is historical fiction because I go back to the turn of the century, and I wasn't there for the conversation, so it's not a memoir. But it is based on her life and her vision of what was going on in Eastern Europe at the turn of the century was ahead of some other people. There was a big influx of people from Eastern Europe, not all Jewish, just getting out of the violence of Eastern Europe at the time. And the details of her life, which were so phenomenal between her and her family, which includes my mother. And it was years and years and years later, after learning a lot of things, that I said, I need to tell her story, because had she not had the vision of getting out of Warsaw when she did, you and I would not be having this conversation. Right. She was extraordinarily ahead of her time and very, very gutsy. She walked out of her entire family, her husband at the time with a 10-month-old baby boy, and got on a train and got on a ship, left everything and everyone she ever knew because she saw what was coming. And the rest of the family.
Did her husband not agree with her on what her perception of the future might hold?
He agreed with her, but he believed that he needed to stay in Warsaw and help Jews, survive what the violence and this anti-Semitism that was building and building. She and her sister witnessed a pogrom, and a pogrom is a violent raid. And this was in Bialystok in 1906, and saw people getting killed and Russian soldiers with their swords just hacking away at anybody they could get because it was a Jewish community. And she saw that, and she said, it's not getting any better. And there was increasing events that she saw after she was married. And she said, we have to get out of here. I don't want my son living in this kind of a place. And no. Everybody said, you're overreacting. Everything's going to be fine. And she said, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And she left. I mean, think about getting up from your computer, your microphone, grabbing a bag and leaving, going someplace you've never been before, and you don't know the language, you don't know anybody. That's it.
Well, don't think for a second I don't contemplate that every day. But I understand how difficult that would be for her to leave her husband and take a baby boy and just leave. That's what keeps me here, is knowing my wife would never come with me. Basically, she doesn't see the United States, what's going on in our country, the way I do, and I have severe anxiety about the future of this country, and feel like, but where would I go? Where is there safer place, a better place for me to go. And it's like, I'm not going to Canada. I don't like
Come
winter.
stay with me. I'll hug you. I'll keep you
Well,
safe.
Matt's hands are too supple to pack on his own, so he has to have his wife go with him. So until that happens, he's staying there.
Don't you have a job interview to go to?
Not today. I'm waiting for callbacks.
All right. So now because this was the early 1900s, right? For the first decade of the 1900s.
Right. Yes. It was World War I. Yeah.
I have a similar family history. My grandmother was a German Jew, and her family emigrated here in 1895. She was born in 1900. But so the question remains is like the rise of anti-Semitism. I think most Americans' perception of it was that it was really after World War One. This was pre-World War One. It takes a while for this stuff to actually catch fire and become like a rabid thing. But your grandmother had a sense of it was going to grow pretty rapidly. Where did she get that perception from?
Well, there were, like I said, there was the pogrom in 1906, and then there were events, and then there was a boycott against Jewish stores. This was she left in 1910, so this was probably actually, 1909. And there were just these events that kept happening in Warsaw. This event over here, this guy was beat up over there. This guy was railing against a Jewish doctor because he didn't feel he did his job. And the doctor said, your wife didn't come to me soon enough. Her hand was very infected. He had to amputate a couple fingers. And he said, she was lucky to keep the rest of her hand. No, you just cheated us. That's what you people do. And so she kept seeing that. And one sister left. Her sister actually married a new rabbi, and she knew he was going to be stationed outside of Poland. So she married him, and he was in Paris. And so when she left, she stopped in Paris to see her sister, met somebody else, got married. They immigrated to Chicago. And that's where she had 3 other children, 3 girls. One was my mother. And Grandpa abandoned her in Chicago. She was with 4 little children. And Grandma, being Grandma, said, well, if I have to be poor, I still don't need to be cold. Being cold and poor in Chicago is a little different than being poor, in Los Angeles. And so Jewish Family Services moved her to LA. She got sick and had to have surgery and left Louis, who was 9 at the time, in charge of the girls. So while she was in the hospital, they had social workers, and they're saying to this woman, you have these other children. Who's watching your kids? My son, Louis. How old is Louis? He's 9. He's very talented. She said, he can take care of the girls. He's old enough. She said, not in this country. He's not old enough. So they took the 2 oldest girls and they put them into a Jewish orphanage in Los Angeles called Vista Del Mar. It exists today, but not as an orphanage. But because of this influx of all these Jewish people who leaving violence, coming to this country for a better life, she didn't have any skills. She couldn't pay for her kids. This orphanage was set up to take care of these children, but they said, they're still your children. They're not going to be adopted. Come on the weekend and take them out of the orphanage, take them home for the weekend. That was what's going on. It was an amazing place. They had separate cottages. They didn't have a big open room. After dinner every night, the director would go to each cottage and ask each child if they needed help with their homework. Mom said, this was the 30s. She said, I never knew there was a depression. We went to the beach. We had barbecues. We went to the movies. We didn't know there was a problem. That's that. And the healthcare industry, the doctors made sure these kids had the best medical care they could get. And that's where she.
I don't think that would be the case if we were going to go through another depression now. I think those organizations, I don't know that for a fact, but I think charitable or orphanages and hospitals and all those kind of facilities would feel it today. I think it sounds like
that almost sounds like fiction. It almost sounds like that's the fictional part of your book. But I know. I mean, believe me. Now, my question is, if your book was picked up as a movie, since some of the things you said, you weren't there, so some things you had to fabricate, or so. Which scene that you fabricated would you fight the hardest for to keep if Hollywood made this a movie?
That was fabricated? Which scene?
Yeah. In other words, they start because Hollywood's going to keep
the fictional part,
right?
Well, let me just interject that Housewife Assassin has been optioned for a movie. The one about Sarah Jane Moore.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
not an easy thing to do. I talked to a lot of authors, and every one of them denies it that they would love to have that happen. But I know deep inside, everybody wants their book turned into a movie.
If you have any say whatsoever, if you have any say in the casting, can I play the gun? I like to play the gun.
Yeah.
I could play Ford.
Yeah, for Regina of Warsaw, I guess it would be the relationship between, I mean, I know what happened with her first husband, so I'm fabricating the conversations, but I know she left him with the baby. And the relationship between the second husband, who was my grandfather, those fights, those scenes, but I know he abandoned her. But these conversations, I wasn't there for the conversations. So how they developed to erupt into the fact that he abandoned her. We don't know. We think he went to Texas, and that's where he disappeared from Texas. So I don't have those conversations. Right. I have the movement and the events.
This is I've talked about my problem with historical fiction quite often on the program, is that, and it sounds like yours is less fictional than most historical fiction, but this problem where the reader has a difficult time understanding which part is fiction and which part is fact, and then for people like me who can be really gullible, I tend to read everything as if I'm reading nonfiction, and then we'll argue things about the stuff that I think are fact and they're not fact. But it sounds like you're a historical fiction, especially being a person who's written nonfiction and is known as an investigative reporter and somebody, an investigative journalist, and somebody who writes nonfiction. It must be really confusing. Do you make it clear at all to the reader about what parts are, it should be common sense. I know that, but for like conversations, you weren't there, you couldn't, and nobody documents their everyday conversations. Right. But it's not common sense to people like me.
I mean, the facts are exactly what happened to her and the people. But what I did, and a lot of times when I'm doing research, I contact university professors to get, because they've done, the hard work. And I found a particular university professor, Robert Blabbaum at West Virginia University, did research on women in Poland at the turn of the century. I mean, that was just amazing. And there was actually a small feminist movement in Poland with women who at that time were starting to work outside the home, which was, who knew? But I've got his documentation of the fact that, because I know my